Istanbul is a city with endless layers of history and home to many stories, legends, novels and poems. The city is bringing together writers and poets from around the globe for the 9th International Literature and Poetry Festival that runs until October 2nd. Joining me now is one of the poets attending, Naida Mujkic. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good evening.
Tell us about the festival and how you feel being a part of it.
Well, for me, it's a great honor to be here. Firstly, because my mentor, the person who read my poems, and my editor attended to this festival several years ago, but he passed away, unfortunately, this summer. So I'm kind of proud that I made it here. And the second thing is I'm very happy that this year the festival are gathering some younger poets, younger writers.
Ah.
Yeah. So I want to thank Mr. Adnan Ozer, who called us. It's not just me. There is a poet from Syria, Mahmoud, and from Hungary, and we all are born in the 80s. So those kind of festivals, they usually gathering some, older writers and poets with much more experience. So it's important to bring to these festivals a younger one, so we can learn new things, so we can experience the spirit of the festival. So maybe someday, when we get old, we have a nice memory to all those things.
Mm-hmm. You just mentioned being with fellow writers and poets. I mean, is that the most enjoyable part of the festival for you? What are you most looking forward to?
Well, for me, the most important thing in the festival actually is the poetry, and we are exchanging the experiences. We are talking about poets between themselves, about their poetry and writing, and also the very important thing is to meet another people from another countries, with their stories. Every writer, every poet is very different and has write about different topics. So it is important to meet one another, so we can maybe sometimes in the future make some long distance friendships.
Yeah. And what are you doing as part of the festival in Istanbul?
Well, my role is I read some of my poems.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I had a poetry reading the day before yesterday. It was in the Great Library near the Topkapi Palace,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very enjoyable. I didn't expect so many people, but it was so crowded, the library.
Mm-hmm.
People were standing, and for me, as a woman, it was important. The most beautiful thing is when the poetry reading was, at the ending, when it's done, when we finished. It's not. I didn't have. It wasn't only that I had a reading. There were also several other poets. There were some women, and they came to me and they said, "We loved your poem. We would like to hear more. Thank you for sharing this feeling. Thank you for sharing your soul, your inner feeling with us."
Mm-hmm.
And there was a woman, and she gave me a hug, because obviously she was touched by the thing I wrote.
That's great. Sounds like a great experience,
Yeah.
definitely. Tell us about your book that was released a week ago called Saffron. And are you working on anything else these days?
It was actually a part of my project in Vienna. I was at the Museum Quartier, but the book also includes a part that tells about Istanbul. Mm-hmm. And the East. So I was working on the on this. Well, it's for me. It's kind of solvable, very solvable problem. You know how to when East meets West. You know how to keep. There is a word in Bosnian, but I will try to translate it in English. How to keep the virginity of the soul when meet West, which is usually traumatizing, you know. And I have a book of short stories, maybe 15 stories, but they need more work.
Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you on Showcase.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.